You might want to relocate. You might have a manager at your job or a boss or whatever the case is that works your nerves. You don't want to bring extra stress when you come into the house. And like I said, if a woman is able to take off a less off of his plate, you should be able to do that if you're able to. I would never want to just be like, oh, I'm gonna stay at home.
But
He got it.
But how does you working take any of that stress off of him?
Because it is
Gender roles in marriage. So we had someone send a question in that said something to the effect of, what if the wife is earning more and the husband wants to stay at home or something like that? You know, is there anything wrong with that? What are you guys' thoughts on that? So I want you guys to share your opinions about that in the comments. Well, we talk about it, and if you guys want to hop on, request, feel free, and we're going to just dive right in, talk about some other topics as well. So you have any thoughts on that?
Repeat the question. What if the husband wants to stay home?
Yeah, like what if the wife makes more? Someone said gender roles. What if the wife what if the wife makes more and the husband just likes to cook and clean and things like that? That's what she said. And
well, I mean, people have their own, I guess, their own like roles and what they kind of do in their own relationships.
Mm-hmm.
But generally speaking, me personally, I wouldn't be comfortable with that. I wouldn't be comfortable staying home all day while my wife goes out and works. I just don't think that's the typical role of a man. But, to each his own. People have their own opinions about it.
So what would you say about, because we all have our own opinions, but what would you say about biblically? What do you think?
The man is a provider.
Okay, where do you see that?
The man is supposed to lead, protect, provide for the woman.
Okay, so I personally think that while I personally wouldn't be okay with that either, I think when we're talking about biblically, the marriage, the Bible doesn't specifically say like the man has to earn more money, the man has to be the one that makes the money, blah, 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 blah. I don't think that is necessarily a sin if it's not the other way around.
Right.
Now, when it comes to leading, that doesn't always mean financial. It can mean a lot of different things. So I would say that me and Joel were actually talking about this earlier this week. And if you guys have any comments or questions, feel free to type them in, and if you want, request to join the live, we'll put you on. But so I don't see anything sinful about it. I don't see anything wrong about it as a black and white rule.
Right.
But I do see how there could be some issues that can be caused because of that. So I can see how, when you look at the workplace and you look at the world and being successful in the workplace, there's a lot of masculine, controlling, like domineering traits that help you be successful in that role or task or whatever. And I think that a lot of those masculine leadership traits in a marriage, if the wrong person is trying to lead, that can lead to some issues. So I can see how it could lead to some problems. But if hypothetically a wife knew how to turn the switch on and off when she got home, I don't see anything wrong with it.
And I know women like that. They're out at work and they're like the boss, but then they come home and they still recognize their role as a wife, as a mother, and they still submit to the husband. And it's a switch, like you said, that they turn on and off. They go to work, they're the boss, they're in charge, they're handling things, and they go home, they know their role there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that to the bigger question about gender roles, I think it's important. You know, if you relate it to like sports, like we both play football.
Right.
Everybody on the team has a role. Quarterback's role is to throw the ball to receivers. Receiver's role is to catch the football, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're a DB, the role is to stop the receivers from catching. Everybody knows their role, knows their assignment. And I think that's the same way in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we have to know our roles, know our assignments to make things work the way that they're supposed to work.
Right. No, that makes sense. And, you know, I agree. Like I said, I'm just saying I don't think that it's necessarily sinful.
Right.
Like I said, I think that the habits are made on a daily basis. Habits are hard to break. Habits are easy to make. And so I think that habits can be formed outside of the home, and then especially if they've been doing that their whole life, it's hard to change some of those habits once you just decide to get in to that marriage space or whatever.
Right.
So all right, we got.
Is there any way you could pin that question that you asked at the beginning?
Yeah. I'll go ahead and pin it real quick.
So people know, you know, what the topic is when they come in.
Yeah.
It goes back to the scripture where it says the woman will desire her husband and he will rule over her. I think because of sin, the woman will trip to buck that and take over the leading.
I think that it
I'll try
definitely.
to buck that.
Pin comment. You can request to hop on. Okay, Chris requested to hop on too. Let me go ahead and accept.
For the question, I just don't think it's. I mean, I don't think a woman will just respect you if you're just staying at home and she's out making the money.
Right.
What's up?
What's up, man? How are you?
What's up, Chris?
I'm good. What y'all just got done working out? What y'all up to?
Oh, nice. We just got started. We just opened up with one of the questions that somebody sent in yesterday, actually, that said, and this is from a woman's perspective, I believe, from the profile picture. But she said, what about a wife who earns more than her husband, and her husband enjoys staying home, cleaning the house, and, being at home and cooking and cleaning and stuff like that? What's your thoughts on that? That's what she said.
In terms of
we both
what
share our opinions.
Basically, Chris, in short, your woman makes more money than you. She wants you to stay home. You staying home?
I mean, okay. So in today's society, there's so many different things with that, right? So like, even if you're a man that kind of stays home, that doesn't necessarily mean like you can't work and you can't bring in income, right? Like, especially with social media and so many different things of creating content and stuff, like you can still like bring income in just being at home, right? So depending on, now it's one thing, now if the example is, okay, you're staying at home and you're not doing nothing but taking care of the kids, that's one thing, right? It's another thing if you're just not like going to an actual 9-to-5 job and doing something like that, right? Because in today's society, people can have real estate and they can be getting money in and just be at home, right?
Right.
So, I mean, what was y'all's opinion on it?
My thing is this. As a man, I don't think a woman will be able to respect you if you just stay at home all day taking care of the kids. Like, I just don't see how she could. You're supposed to be the leader in the relationship. So now, is she the leader? If that's the case?
I mean, you don't think you can be a leader and not make the most money?
It's not about making the most money, but if you're at home all day and she's out working, getting the bread, she comes home and she's like, oh, there he is again, on the couch. Like, I don't think she's going to respect you.
Okay, but I think I see what you're saying. And I think a lot of women in today's society, they probably wouldn't, right? Unless they're just like super alpha and then like the man is just super beta, right? Because hey, to be honest, if that works for their relationship, that works for their relationship. Me personally, I don't think I could do it, right? I just got too much ambition, too many things I'm trying to accomplish and do that there's no way I could just be sitting home taking care of the kids, you know. Not that I want her to do that to a certain extent too, right? But yeah, I can see how the respect factor can go down a little bit, right?
So
Um,
the original question though was formed in a way of, is it wrong biblically? And biblically, I don't see that finances always equals leadership.
I agree.
That's
Right.
why I said, is it sinful? No, I don't believe it
No.
is. I don't believe the Bible says that it's wrong.
Because to be honest, you can provide in so many other ways than just financially, right? Mentally,
Right.
physically, spiritually, emotionally. Like there's so many other ways.
Now, from a biblical perspective, which, like I said, there's plenty of people that will share like the red pill or the blue pill version or the alpha, beta, whatever opinions. But at the end of the day, you know, we're trying to follow what God says, and there are some gray areas in the Word. So we need to be able to find ways to guide ourselves with the Word through that. Now, I will say that, you know, the Bible does say that the husbands need to love their wives like Christ loved the church, and the wives do need to submit to their husbands, and
Right.
etc. The husband needs to lead. He's the head he's the head of the wife, and part of that, I think that when you're going, and we were saying this right before you hopped on, if she's going into an environment that causes her to have to use, as they like to call it today, masculine energy, or a lot of aggression and not giving in and stubbornness that will bring you up the ladder in the corporate world and in our world today,
You got to turn
it's
that
going to
off.
be hard for her to have those habits. That tends to be what she uses to get to success. And then when she comes with you, she's going to try to use that to get to success with you when it's the opposite. And so I
Right.
see that as
I agree.
causing some problems.
No, I agree. It definitely can be. And I know we had this conversation in depth before. I want to say it was your bachelor weekend, but I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
so I mean, like see me, like I love a woman that can kind of go out and conquer the world and stuff like that. But like you said, when you come back home, you got to be able to tone that thing down, right? Because both of y'all can't just be like, there's only be one starting quarterback. Both of y'all can't be like, hey, we're going to go right, you're going to go right, you go left, and it's just house divided, right? So, I mean, somebody has to lead. And like I said, I don't think financially, just because you're the breadwinner, whether that's and to be honest, it works both ways, right? So just because you're a man that you make more money, that alone doesn't necessarily give you the right to be like, okay, whatever I said goes, right? It doesn't give you like supreme control of the situation, right? Because you could be a great provider financially, but you could be horrible emotionally. You could be horrible physically. You could be horrible on so many different areas, but you just make more money or you make a lot of money. That doesn't alone doesn't give you the right to be like, all right, this is how I'm dictating everything.
Right.
I think the one of the great aspects of a leader is to be able to delegate certain things, right? So if you know your wife is better at you than this aspect, you be like, hey, baby, you're better at paying the bills on time. You do that. You handle the finances. You handle that aspect. Whatever it is, right? I think that's a mark of a good leader too, right? You know,
Right.
hey, you're better at this than me. You handle that, right? But you also need a woman that's going to be like, okay, I'll take that. I'll do that because I'm better at that, and not throw it back in your face and be like, oh, well, you're not this because of X, Y, and Z, yada, yada, yada.
So there's two things. One, someone put up a Bible verse, and I want to make it a habit where when there's a Bible verse thrown in, we want to make sure that we are that we read it, because there's a lot of people that bring stuff out of context or put stuff in the right context, and so we just want to make sure we come from the Word. So someone said, I agree, but 2 Thessalonians 3:10 through 11. So I'm trying to see what your point is here. Maybe it was a joke, maybe it was serious. But
Show me the verse, show me the verse, Zach. Show me the verse.
Yeah, it says, from TikTok.
Yeah.
It says, for even when we were with you, we gave you this rule: if a man does not work, he shall not eat.
All right.
We hear that some among you are idle. They are not busy. They are busy bodies. And this isn't in context to marriage, but I'm not sure what that verse was
I
pointing
mean,
to, but
I think that speaks more to being lazy, though, right?
well, it's talking more so like from a church aspect and a communal aspect when people are intentionally just trying to freeload and just ride on the backs of other people. They shouldn't be. The church shouldn't be a situation that
Endorses
provides
that.
someone to be comfortable in
Mm.
that mode. So that's kind of what he was talking about there. Um, I don't think God cares as long as you're faithful, respectful, and loving. When it comes to the finances or when it comes to leadership. Yeah, and there's a lot of if you guys have any questions, there's a question button at the top, I believe. Click that there, so they'll come up and we'll be able to go through them one by one. Man, these are a lot of comments. Kiki, what's up? So what do y'all think of housewives? I don't think there's anything
Wait,
wrong with
think of it in
housewives.
what way? Think of it like in a bad way or a good way?
It seems like she said, "What do you think? Like, what's your opinion of it?" I think it's a great thing. If they're doing a
Housewife?
good job, if they're doing a
Nothing
good
wrong
job,
with a housewife.
yeah.
Nothing. I'm gonna say this. So, like, nothing's wrong with it. I don't think nothing. But me and Zach are a little different in this aspect. Like, I'm not. I'm not ecstatic about it, right? There's nothing wrong with it at all. It could be successful, whatever works for whoever's marriage. But for me, like, I kind of want my wife to be um, going out and getting it and kind of getting those experiences and stretching herself mentally and emotionally and physically. So just kind of so I've seen certain situations just in life, right, where somebody's been at the home for a long period of time, and the other one was going out and getting it and killing it, right? And there, after some years, there's like a gap that happens, right? Because this person's going out and meeting this person and doing this and having a whole bunch of experience, and the other one is just back at home, right? Watching TV and hanging with the kids all day, right? So I think you have to be really careful because that gap can over years it can like really happen, right? So for me, I kind of want my wife to be very ambitious in a sense, right? To be going out and doing, and it don't have to necessarily, not saying you can't leave the home, not saying you have to leave the home or anything, but just to have some goals that you want to like go out and accomplish and do and stretch yourself and so
So
that's just me. But
Looking for.
this is what I would say about that though, because obviously everyone has a perspective from their own like experiences, shape their perspective to a certain degree. The only issue with that is that God can stretch you mentally, physically, emotionally in all those areas outside of, oh, I'm making corporate deals and shaking people's hands.
all right.
Proverbs 31, someone mentioned the woman in Proverbs 31. She is, she doesn't seem lazy at all.
Oh, no doubt.
You know what I mean? But she's also not this like, I would assume from the text, she's not this masculine energy, modern woman. She takes care of her family. She makes sure that anything that comes through those doors, she's already ready. It says she laughs at like the winter months or something like that because she knows that her family is taken care of.
But that
And
also
so,
doesn't mean she's stuck at home though either.
but okay, you're throwing the word stuck at home. It just means that maybe she's not. It actually specifically says she does things outside of the home.
Right.
So you can like
Home,
housewives aren't stuck at home. They take their kids places. They still do things. They go to daycare. They take them to like
I mean, yeah,
trips
but
and things like that. Field
but
trips, all sorts of things.
home is more of a priority. Is what you're saying?
Well, we got a request real
But
quick.
isn't that both though? It shouldn't home be at both of our priorities to a certain extent? It's just in
So
different ways.
so that's I agree, but it's like should winning be both the coach and the quarterback's priority? It should be both their priority.
Right.
but they
Exactly.
have different roles within that.
Right. Right.
And so those different roles are gonna, like, because the coach isn't in the weight room lifting with the team, does that mean he's lazy? Like, he's not getting stretched physically or this way. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah,
No, but
that's
it helps.
true.
It helps.
He just
Yeah.
he just has
Hey,
different
even
roles.
Coach Baker got it in sometimes, right?
Sometimes.
Actually, a lot.
So, Stephanie, I'm trying to accept your thing. It's just, let me know if she pops up, because sometimes there's a delay. But yeah, no, I so that will lead to the next question.
Which is?
Yes, I'm married. I'm currently married. That's always the question that people throw out.
Yeah, he's the
Like,
only one.
to almost I don't want to say it's this person's intention, but some people, yeah, exactly. Like, who thinks, why would anyone think that raising babies is lazy?
No one said it's
Right.
lazy.
It ain't. It's actually the
not.
opposite. All right.
It's not. And so that's where, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm trying to accept. Okay.
There you go.
There we go. Hey, what's going on?
Uh-oh.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good.
Good. How you doing?
I was hoping to be on here when Chris wasn't on here. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, man.
I'm sure he was hoping the same thing. No, I just wanted to touch on when he was talking about a housewife, and I'm not married. However, I have a lot of friends who stay home and they are just not staying in the house, I guess, as you call it, and they are getting experiences. And especially I just, like, right now with what's going on in like the educational system, like so many parents are pulling their kids out of schools to homeschool, and so, like, they're getting experiences that way. Like, I can only speak for like my sister-in-law. She's involved in small groups and involved in the church, and I don't know, it seems like you kind of have this, like, idea of what a housewife is that, they just sit at home and have their feet up and eat bonbons all day and just watch the housewives on TV. And that's absolutely not true. Especially, like, I dropped Proverbs 31, and, Zach, you were talking about that. Like, if you are a biblical housewife, like, you are not just going to be sitting at home. Like, you are not just going to be, watching TV. Like, you're going to be, possibly raising kids if you have kids. But even if you don't have kids and you're staying home, like, you're taking care of the home. Like, you're making sure that your husband, has a lunch and has food and has, the groceries, and it's possibly, like, taking care of the bills, paying the bills, making sure that your electricity stays on, like, going around, like, ministering. That's a great opportunity for, them during the day to meet with other women, married and single. Like, it's definitely not, I don't know. I think that
Now,
what you're making it out to be is not what it is.
I will say this though. To Chris's defense, I mean, it's not like a case or anything, but I will say this though. Everybody who is a stay-at-home mom, just like every guy that works or every guy, doesn't always do all those characteristics that you said. So there are some stay-at-home moms,
And that's more so what I was referring to.
Right.
Well, my husband is making like $300K a year. I'm just gonna sit back and chill, and then and then watch TV, and then maybe physically, mentally, and all these other areas she's going down. So I would say that the issue isn't stay-at-home mom. The issue is laziness.
Right. I think that's such a minority though. And for you to say, well, like, my wife is going to do da, 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 like, that may not be. Sometimes I think, I'm not trying to be rude when I say this, Chris, I can't wait to see who you end up marrying, because sometimes the things that you say, I just think that, like, God is literally going to, like, blow your mind, and it's going to be complete opposite of what, not in a bad way.
It ain't gonna be complete opposite. It ain't gonna be complete opposite now.
It's a guy.
Not in a bad way, but sometimes some of the things that you say, I think that, like, God is literally just gonna like blow like your box, because some of the things that you say sometimes I'm like, no, I think that God's totally going to be like, I think in any of our lives, some of the things that we think we want or we need, like God is like, that's not what you need, or you know what I mean, like I have so much better or whatever. But I mean,
No,
that's
I
not
mean
a dig,
that's no,
that's not a dig on
that's
you.
fair. No, that's fair,
But
because I mean, all I'm speaking from is from, you know, a 20-year-old single man's point of view, right? I've never been married, never claimed to be married, never claimed to know everything, right? So my
right,
perspective is really just from my
right,
experiences, right? Not to say that, you know, I know everything of what's going to happen, just from the data that I've gathered and the experience that I've seen from certain people, that, you know, this is what I've gathered and what I kind of want. Now, look, I understand that every housewife doesn't just sit and just eat and, you know, X, Y, and Z, right? I know there's a lot of women that go out and still hustle, still ambitious, and do a whole bunch of different things. All I'm just saying is, I just said generally speaking, because I know there's women that do that. Just like there's men that go out and make all the money and they come home and they're like the dictator, and they're running everything, to where their wife doesn't have any voice, right? So I mean, I'm just looking at it from like a broader perspective, but I understand exactly what you're saying.
right.
Yeah.
No, and that was not a dig like on you. I just think it's going to be cool to see who you end up marrying, because I think it's going to be cool. But to go back to, like, you know, you're talking about like the guy and how you know, the dictator or whatever, like it all comes down, I think, to being like in alignment with what God, like biblically what God has set in stone. You know what I mean? Because the Bible never talks about like the husband is like the dictator, and you know what I mean? Like, so that I know that absolutely happens, but that's completely out of alignment for what God wants a biblical marriage to look like. You know what I mean? So
Right.
like, I think that we all have our own whatever, and sometimes when we go to the word, like our own opinions are in direct opposition to what the Bible puts so many things of like, well, this is what is acceptable, or this is how you should be as a husband or a wife. Even the church, you know what I mean, like has like, this is how marriage or whatever should be, but when you actually take it back to the word, it's not, you know, like it's not, a lot of our ideas are not even biblical.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree.
No,
And
yeah, that's true, and I think a lot of our preferences, our fears, our insecurities, or just the things we want, that maybe the Bible's gray on, that doesn't really talk black and white on. He's not 20. He said 20 something.
Yeah.
If someone said something in the comments, but anyway, a lot of that is shaped from our own perspective of what we've seen. So, like, for the woman that is afraid of the word submission because she saw a dad that took advantage of her mom or beat the kids or something like that, then I can understand why she will be opposed to it. But that doesn't make her argument of whether or not it should be that way valid or not. But there is a level of, okay, I can understand why you would want that. And I think that in the church, like I said, we have our own preferences and opinions based upon, you know, what we've been through.
Right.
And just like someone who's been through certain situations is going to gravitate towards certain things. And so I think it's important for us to, and I know you weren't doing this, but I'm just saying for people in the comments and whatnot, for it to be like, okay, someone may have this opinion about, someone may be like, oh, I don't want a stay-at-home wife because I've seen stay-at-home moms that are lazy. And someone may say, oh, I don't want a working wife because I've seen working moms and working wives that are, you know, jerks to their husband. And so both people will lean more on one side or the other. And at the end of the day, it's like, okay, where do we come with the word, and how does that dictate how we navigate it rather than our own past experiences? And those are going to come into play, but it's just, you know, how do we navigate it?
Right. Well, and unfortunately, we wouldn't have any of these issues if sin wasn't, you know what I mean? If there wasn't an issue of sin and there
Yeah.
wasn't fault, because it absolutely is not how God intended. You know what I mean? Like scripture says that Eve was created as a helper to Adam, you know, and but then the fall happened. And so it literally like threw everything, you know, out of whack, you know? So a lot of
So
these things that we like deal with, that was never God's intention. You know what I mean? Like it was never God's intention for us to be talking about like submission being an issue or whatever, because there was never supposed, you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes
right.
sense, but
No, it makes perfect sense. And there's someone else in the request that I'm gonna have to bring them on real quick. But
oh,
if you want to hop back on,
all
just
right.
hop back in.
Thank you.
Anyone can request to join and share your
All right.
opinion real quick. But thanks
Thank you
for
for
coming
joining.
on. We appreciate
Yeah.
it a lot. So let me just go ahead and address this one. I feel like I have to address it every single time.
Well, what is it?
It's the if a woman can't submit to her husband, then I would question if they're able to submit to the Lord.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because if the man is honorable, if that's the case, it should come natural to submit. Okay. Let me go ahead and see if I can remove her. Okay. Bethany Naomi Wright. I'll say this just about every time. Maybe this is your first time joining us, and maybe you didn't mean it this way. But what it seems like what you're saying is, if she's not submitting to him, if a guy's wife is not submitting to him, then it's because he is not leading her properly. And I see you, Imperial Morale. I see you in the request. I'm going to bring you on in a second. Then if she's not submitting to him, then he's doing something wrong, because if he's leading right, she'll naturally submit.
Right.
I don't agree with that at all. If you're coming from a Christian perspective, here's the reason why. Did Jesus lead perfectly? Yes. Did Jesus love perfectly? Yes. Does God love perfectly? Yes. I mean, God, the Father in heaven, you know, outside of Jesus living in this world,
He is perfect.
yes, he is perfect. He loves you perfectly. He leads you perfectly. Do you submit to him perfectly? No, because we are all flawed. So the idea that if I am not submitting well, that means that he's not leading well is not true. Because to make that claim is to say, oh, well, I naturally just have the ability to not sin and not do wrong if they do their part right. No, we have free will. You're not a robot. And so I do not agree with that at all. If that were the case, Paul would not have said, wives, submit to your husband. He wouldn't have had to give that instruction. He would have just said, husband, love your wives as Christ loved the church. And they would naturally submit. There would be no need to instruct them to do something, because they wouldn't have wanted to something that they would naturally do. So I don't agree with that in any way, shape, or form. And I know some churches teach that. And I know some churches say that out of context, saying that the man should lead the relationship. He should take the step. If no one's doing it, he should at least take the first step and try to do right. But that doesn't mean that she is naturally going to do it. So, you know.
I mean, I was feeling on that point, huh?
It's just the same thing. The same thing every single time it comes up.
I don't know why I'm not getting the comments, y'all.
Okay, it says husbands submit to your wives. Where does it say that?
It doesn't say that. It doesn't say that in the Bible.
Huh?
It does not say that in the Bible.
Somebody said it said, don't forget to mention that verse where it says husbands
show
submit
the
to your
verse.
wives. Show me the verse that says husbands submit to your wives.
It says die for, but
It says die for her.
which is a lot harder than
Servant
submission.
leadership. But it doesn't say submit to her leadership.
Right.
That's not what the Bible does not say that. And if you're saying verse, I don't know what verse you're talking about.
Hafiz.
Hafiz, I'm going to bring you in a minute.
If he's in there.
Yeah, I can't let you take over, man. I can't let you just take over right away. Okay, I'll bring you in a second. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, peace and love, y'all. How y'all doing?
Yeah,
Good.
thanks. Where are you checking in from?
Oh my gosh.
Hey.
Okay.
Hey.
Okay, go back.
Let's put the kids up, please.
Hey, that's gonna be Zach in a couple months.
Okay, my bad, y'all.
Oh, good.
Anyway.
Hey, what's your name?
My name is Israel.
Okay.
I'm tapping in for my business page, Imperial Morale. It's all about instilling a royal mindset in our people. Royal being acknowledging God as king, being, the royal children of his kinginess. Anyhow, carrying on. So I did want to touch on a conversation I actually had earlier on my page. I feel like a huge issue in today's society is that a lot of people really don't understand what it means to submit. I feel like, especially amongst like women, there's like, I think you said it earlier, there's like a huge stereotype or negative tone around it. And at the same time, submission, it should be an honorable thing amongst the women. Because, the scripture.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I have to say one thing. I see that everybody is taking Ephesians 5:21 out of context. Paul is writing this letter, and he is talking about people in the church submitting to each other. And then he doesn't mention husband and wives until after that. So to say submit to one another is not talking about husbands and wives. So I just want to put that in the context for the people that keep bringing that up, saying submit to yourselves to one another. He's not talking about husbands, wives, submit to one another. He's talking about other people in the church. And then he goes on to talk about husbands and wives, children and parents, things like that. He is not talking about that in verse 21. You got to read it in context. Sorry about that. I just had to, people bringing up verses, I had to address it.
I feel like another verse maybe that I feel like is interesting to mention in this discussion is that, in the like manner, it also says in the scripture that the wife's body is not her own, but her husband's. And then the husband's body is not his own, but his wife's. So, there really is a union in that. And even in the scripture, I believe it's earlier in Ephesians 5, where it talks about the Father being the head of Christ, and then Christ being the head of, and then Christ being the head of the man, and the man being the head of the woman. I feel like if anything, that just shows, a chronological order to things. We need order. Without order, our society falls apart. We have structure and order in our governments here. So, I don't think it's meant to demean the woman because, like you said, even before in Proverbs 31, the Proverbs 31 woman, she was a hustler. She was an entrepreneur, but she also tended to her house at the same time. And I feel like, the duties of our house is often neglected because our society would like us to undermine how important it is to keep the house, to raise the children up in the way that they should go, so that when they're older, they don't depart. And we're often pushing society to have the world raise our children, to have the world raise our households. So I just think that should be noted. I feel like I'm going on a lot. So
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm going to pause right there. But, yeah.
So it sounds like what you're saying is there's a difference in how the world portrays it versus like what it's meant to be portrayed as.
Right. They make it seem like it's a bad thing.
Yeah, they make it seem like it's a bad thing. And even so me personally, I'm not married, but I do have a 5-year-old daughter. And it's like, while I do stay with her full time, at the same time, I have to work. So I'm working from home. I have several businesses that I operate, but at the same time, my main priority is making sure my household is in order too. I'm homeschooling my daughter. So I have to make sure that, certain ideologies are instilled in her because this world is crooked. This world is changing so many of our viewpoints that we need to hold as Christians, as followers of Christ. And when I saw the title for Christian dating, I was like, okay, I need to tap in because I feel like our society really kind of waters down what it means to be Christian today. You know what I mean? If we're dating and we're Christian, we need to be abstaining from sex until marriage. Like that's the ordinances of God. You know what I mean? And if you're in a relationship where a man can't commit to that, then you're in a relationship where a man can submit to God. And when a man can submit to God, then that hierarchy is already messed up, because that's the hierarchy. The man is supposed to be submitting to Christ, and that's the order of things. So a lot of people are getting in relationships where the man isn't in submission to God, and submitting to God is wisdom, you know. And if you're not submitting to God, you can't lead in wisdom, you know. And if that hierarchy is messed up, the whole thing is messed up. You might as well just throw the whole thing away. And that's what we're seeing, like failed relationships, people going out on their own wisdom. You know, as a woman, you need to be looking for a man who has his life submitted unto the Lord. Otherwise, what's the point? What are you doing?
Right. Yeah. Why would you agree to or get married or agree to submit to someone that you know is not submitted to God and that you know is not going to love you like Christ loved the church?
They don't know love. They don't know love.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
God is love.
Right. So if you don't know God, if he doesn't know God, he's not going to be able to do that. So you should not agree to submit to him by marrying him.
Facts. And likewise, like a man is looking for a woman. If the woman doesn't know God, you know, you have relationships where people choose to be unequally yoked because they think, oh, they can instruct and lead the other person. But at the end of the day, that person isn't going to know love because they don't know God, and they can't really, you know, fully experience what love is because they haven't submitted to the Word of God. The Word of God tells us how love moves. We are supposed to experience love. We're supposed to have love inside of us, not this worldly definition of love, which is often confused with lust. So, yeah.
Definitely.
But
yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think that's a really good perspective that, you know, we need to hear, men and women sharing that, because sometimes it can get kind of depressing to see, like, man, does anybody believe these things now? So we appreciate you for hopping on and sharing that.
Appreciate that. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it tapping in. Much love to y'all. Peace, love, all praises to the Most High, always.
Most definitely.
Yes, thank you for coming on.
Peace.
All right. So we've got one more, and then Hafiz, I'll go ahead and see your invite.
You want to jump in, man?
My wig off now. Don't add me.
Oh well, I just added.
No,
you
come
now.
on with that.
No,
Just put a hat on.
I just said I snatched my wig off. Now y'all want to add me. Y'all ain't reading comments fast enough.
I pressed it literally right when you said that.
Man, I'm like, come on now. I can't. Now I got my bonnet on. But how y'all doing,
It is what it
fellas?
is.
Bonnet gang.
How are you?
Right, the Lord says what? Come as you are. So here I am.
Here you are.
Okay, so for the question, that is paying a wife earning more money than a husband, I have a question. Is the woman taking care of this man, or is the man not making the same amount as she is? Like, why is he not earning more than she is? What's going on?
So the original question that was sent to us earlier this week was from a woman that said, "Hey, what's your opinion about biblically if a woman earns more than the man, and the man just naturally likes to cook and clean, and he doesn't want to go out and work. He wants to work around the house." She said, what are your thoughts on that? And so from a biblical perspective, we were just saying, whether is that right or wrong? Is it wise, unwise? What's your thoughts? And so kind of opened the discussion up with that topic.
But let's say he's not lazy though, right? Because we know that that's something completely separate. Let's say the man is he just wants to be in home, you know, man. He's not lazy. He just wants to do his work in home, right?
Wait, he's still making an income, but he's just in the house.
No. Let's say he's not making an income, but he's a stay-home dad, and he's taking care of the other house. But he's not lazy by any means.
He's not lazy.
And I'm the one bringing in the money.
Yeah.
And I'm his wife, or we just because I
you're his wife.
Everything.
Yeah, that's your wife.
I would do it for a certain amount of a period of time. You feel me? Like if we fell on a hardship to where, like, okay, say for instance, he was laid off of a job and I needed to step up and take care of the bills. And that's in that sense. But for a long period of time, like me just taking care of a man in my house, nah.
But it's his house too, though, because y'all
Right.
married.
No,
It's his house too.
Community
it's
property.
right because you guys are married. Whew, look, whew. I probably would be divorced because
Wait. What? You would get a divorce?
hell yeah, that's gonna be
Why?
stress. You feel me? Because your man should not want to see you tired. He should, even though this is cooking and cleaning. That's stuff that you're gonna have to do if you were single, regardless. If you were single or with somebody, you're still gonna have to cook and clean up. So a man staying at home cooking and cleaning, that's not really being helpful to me. You feel me? That's not taking stress or a load off of me. That's not building me as a woman. You're making me a stronger man for us. You're not making me you becoming a weaker man by taking the lesser lead. That's how I would take it. That's Don't judge me on, but that's probably why I'm not getting married until I'm older because imagine in your 30s, somebody telling you, you feel me, you're gonna do all the work and I'm gonna just stay home and cook and clean all day long. For how long are you gonna be doing that for?
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, just playing devil's advocate, right? Um, so if I'm the man and that's quote unquote, I hate using this analogy, but just playing devil's advocate. Not that I think this way, but if that's all the woman is bringing, hey, I'm gonna cook and clean and just be a housewife. Why
Like
would I need
even
you?
even if I was a wife personally, I wouldn't want my husband to just I would not want to bring not nothing to the table. I would never want to just be a stay-at-home wife. I would want to bring something because at the end of the day, he's gonna have stress weeks. He's gonna have days where he's tired, where his body or his mind is mentally drained. So I wouldn't want to put all that stress on him if I as a woman if I'm able to, why not be a helping hand? You're supposed to be his backbone. I would never want to just be like, oh
So
yeah, I'm gonna stay
so
at home.
okay,
Even if I
so
was rich.
so without us going too far down the rabbit hole of like the secular opinion, which it does matter. I'm not against that. From a biblical
Wait, you're
perspective,
not against it?
from a biblical perspective, what do you have like in what ways from a biblical perspective and just from a relationship perspective, what would you offer him?
Right.
Um, what do you mean as
If you're
as
not
a
working,
breadwinner
he's
still?
he's out there working because you
Oh,
said you would be working and he needs to offer something. I can cook and clean. So let's just say he goes and he works. What are you offering him?
I'm gonna be doing the same thing. I'm gonna go clean, cook, work, and do the same thing. We're gonna be doing half. But like I said, if a man like,
So you want to work. You want to be married. You want to be working.
yeah, I want to be working. Why would I not be
Okay.
working? Why would I just be having somebody taking care of me because he's the man?
Well,
Mm.
sometimes, as we were talking about earlier, sometimes people can still take care of people and still make people's lives easier without saying, I'm bringing in additional income. It is
Right.
one form of doing it, but it doesn't necessarily mean someone's lazy or that they're not taking care of or helping somebody's life be better.
No, I never said it was lazy. I just said that's something that we're gonna have to do regardless if you were married or single. You still would have to cook and clean and wash your car and go grocery shopping. That's stuff that you're gonna do as an individual or married. So besides the basics, the surface of what's going on, what else do you bring to the table? Because stress is not just mental. You feel me? You work a job where we all work the job where you might have a manager you or the distance to travel. You hate driving. You feel me? You hate driving. You might want to relocate. You might have a manager at your job or a boss or whatever the case is that works your nerves. You don't want to bring extra stress when you come into the house. And like I said, if a woman is able to take off a less off of his plate, you should be able to do that if you're able to. I would never want to just be like, oh, I'm gonna stay at home. He
But
he
how
got
does
it.
but how does you work and take any of that stress off of them?
Because it's a mental thing. It's not just bringing in a value of a dollar sign. It's also a mental thing because men sometimes one income. For most part, when people date, they're single for a while before they hop into a relationship or before they date. So if you're used to taking care of yourself and now you multiply, you have a wife and a kid, you might be stressed by taking all of that onto your plate. Because your wife is able, just because you have a child does not mean you're not able to bring in more than just the household chores. You feel me? I feel like where this is 2022, this is not the 1900s where we're staying at home and he's putting in all the work. I don't like that. You feel me? If you're able to as a woman, hell yeah, bring in another income, bring in a business. If you're gonna be at home, you better be running a business or something. I'm sorry, am I still talking biblical on here?
So I got a
I
question.
want to know.
I got a
Let the
question
Lord
too.
know I'm mixed. So don't judge me. For me.
Yeah, we're all work in progresses.
Okay.
I got a question though.
Answer
So
it.
we're talking about like the dynamic between, a stay-at-home spouse, right, and another spouse going out and working, whether that's the man or the woman or vice versa, right?
Mhm.
So like how does the finances get broken up, right?
That's what I
So
want to
like
know as a man. Is
because
it?
that's interesting.
That's what I want to know. Is it 70-30? Is it 50-50? Is it 60-40?
Or
What
is
is
it
your
like all
input?
joint or is it like
Is y'all sharing savings? I want to know y'all inputs because y'all sound like y'all more
oh, I got a foolproof plan. I'm just saying, I have a foolproof plan, and nobody has been able to, convince me otherwise yet. But I'm gonna let Zach and C Love go first.
go ahead,
So,
Zach.
well, I will say two things. One, we have two more people requesting to hop on, and it may kick us off in a couple minutes because it tends to do that at the hour mark. But we're staying on for 2 hours this time. So if it goes off, everybody will be right back on.
He said
And I
prenup.
know
No,
Hafiz is still waiting to hop on. So if he's still here, let me check and see.
yeah, we're gonna need
Hafiz,
at
go.
least 30. Yeah, we're gonna need at least 30 for fees.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
a good question. We got to answer. I got to know these little answers real quick, Zach.
And
No,
we want to know
personally,
your answer.
personally, go ahead, C Love. Go ahead. We'll make it quick though. We'll make it quick.
Okay,
What
what is your input on the household, on the bills,
The
the
finances of
percentages?
your household, not everybody's, just yours.
um I think 70-30 is good.
What you mean? Explain that. 7:30 in what way?
As far as like the man pays 70%, the woman goes 30.
What?
Okay, okay. You
Why?
single?
So wait, what happens with the other? What happens with the other 70%?
I mean, let's be honest. Like, what you gonna go 50-50?
Hey, I'm an attorney. You got to explain yourself. Explain yourself. So what happens to the other 70%?
I'm saying, like, I think ideally that's what I would want, right? Like, I wouldn't want to go 50-50. Because I don't think that you want to be that provider male, right?
We
So you're gonna
just
want to
didn't we
pay.
just but didn't we just agree that it's more than just finances in terms of providing?
It is, but I mean, come on now.
Come on now, I thought we just agreed.
Hey,
It
So,
is more than just.
so if the woman made more money, would you expect her to pay more of
Right.
the finances?
Okay.
Well, see, that's different. If she makes more money, then I mean, of course
So
it
now
can't be
she
70.
got the 70, you got the 30.
It
Now you
can't be
mean
70
what?
30.
Now you like 30
See, I
70
don't think
on.
that's fair. I don't think that's fair. I think that to be honest, I think that is a very unwise way in terms of like a long term and like what's the goal, right? If the goal is trying to create generational wealth, if the goal is trying to sustain the family, and sustain your kids, right, and all the generations after you, I think 70-30 is not the wisest way to do it, right? Because what happens when that 70 drops off? COVID happened. They get sick. What happens when the 70 drops off? Now you got to live off the 30. And that 30 is only going to last for maybe, what, a couple months, depending on your bills? And now you're stuck. Yeah, you can say life insurance, and yeah, that could help for a while, but at the end of the day, that bank account is steady going down, 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 right? So I don't think 70-30 is a very wise way financially to kind of split things up. What you think, Zach?
Well, the way we're doing it currently, I think there's an ideal way, and then there's whatever circumstance you're in. Right now, I cover all the major bills, and then Joelle's money goes to extra things like if we want to go eat out, or if we want to take a trip or something like that. My money
Wait.
goes. I have my amount of money that I have to save, that we shoot for every month, and then I cover all the bills, and then that's it.
Hold on, Zach. You
So
said she pays for the trip.
yeah. 'Cause I'm paying for the house, I'm paying for the electricity. I'm paying for the water. I'm paying for the groceries.
He said, I'm paying for us
and
to
I'm paying
live.
for everything. I'm paying for everything else. So yeah, that's how we have it split up.
But Chris, I'm saying if the
But,
woman's
hey,
paying 30% of everything,
I'm not. If
You
you
want to
want
jump back on?
let me hold on really quick. I got these other two people in here really quick. We if you want to hop back on, I just want to give everyone a chance to hop on.
All right, we're gonna touch on it.
So
All right, make sure you guys tap me back in, okay?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I appreciate
She sounded
it.
interesting with that.
All right, man, we got a bunch of people requesting this time.
Hey, that means we're doing something right. That means he's doing something right then, right?
Yeah. Is she still on your screen?
No.
Okay, here we go. All right. They requested back when we were still talking about roles. But hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's up?
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. How
I'm
are
good.
I just want to weigh in on the conversation because this is an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
I feel like it starts with having a vision though. Like as a single person, I'm very single. So I feel like each individual has to have a vision and a mission to submit to, especially with women being submissive to their husbands or whatever. I feel like both of us should submit to one mission and submit. Did I mute myself? Sorry.
No, you're
No,
good.
you're
You're
still
good.
good.
We should submit to just one mission and agree on a vision. Like for me, one of the questions when I'm dating is, okay, so what is your vision? And maybe if it's something that I don't really agree with, or I'm like,
Can't get
then
behind.
yeah, I just,
Yeah.
keep it moving. But I feel like it all starts with having a vision. And if both of you have a vision that aligns together, then I'm willing to submit to that. If you hear yelling, that is my mother.
It's all good. It's all good.
But that's just my whole thing. Like without vision, the people perish. So as a single woman, I have a vision for myself. And if I don't submit to the vision, well, first, if I don't submit my vision to God, because it's easy to say, okay, this is what I want.
This is what
And
I
it can
want.
easily be a fantasy. So I have to submit that to God so he can kind of refine my vision, be like, okay, Talisha, you kind of being greedy with that. Or, okay, so Talisha, what are your intentions with said vision? And then I find someone, well, let me take that back. Someone finds me and and we both have a similar vision and he has a vision and we both submit that to God, then I'm willing to submit to him because I'm following him. I don't have a problem with submitting to my husband because if he's giving me something to submit to, then good. So for example, if I say, babe, I want to go on vacation. Okay, well, is it in the budget? And if it's simply not in the budget, then we're just not going to go on this vacation because we have a vision because we're trying to buy a house. So that's just my perspective on that. So I don't have a problem with submitting to my man or my future husband, but if he's submitting to other stuff, I have a vision for other things, and I'm just not doing it.
What if
And
you're
as far
married?
as
Are you saying? I don't mean to cut you off. I'm just asking. Do you mean in a dating relationship or in a marriage relationship?
a married relationship,
Okay. So in a marriage context, from a biblical perspective, if it's something that you don't have, that he has a vision for, or he feels God's leading him in this direction, but you don't feel God's leading you in that direction, not that he's leading you into sin, but it's just not the same direction, would you still submit to it?
it's going to take a lot of prayer and fasting.
Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, and that's fair because every it's not always gonna be easy, right? It's not always gonna be easy, but no, okay.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree, especially with the vision part, because especially before you're married, if you're not married to someone, you have no
Yeah, you can't.
obligation
Right.
to submit to them. You have no obligation.
If you can't see yourself submitting to that man, don't even date him. There's no point.
Don't marry him. Yeah.
It'll just cause a headache because he's gonna want you to submit to him, and you can't do it because of the type of man he is.
Because if I
What's the
catch
point?
myself like trying to use the right word. Well, yeah, if I catch myself having to like lead, I don't have a problem with leading because I believe the faith of one woman in her house can change the trajectory of her entire household. So if I have to be like, babe, you know, you the pilot, I'm the co-pilot, I see you kind of, because I feel like in marriage or well, dating, I feel like what I'm strong in, and if he's weak in that area, then I can help with that too, and vice versa.
Mhm.
Right.
So
It's a partnership. Yeah. I mean,
it's definitely a partnership. But as far as like money,
mm.
yeah. Mm.
I
I
got a
don't have,
question for you.
okay.
You make more money than your husband. Are you gonna let him be a stay-at-home dad?
Mm.
Dang, why is that such a horrible thing? I mean, not saying I
No,
don't want to be one,
it's
but
not
man,
horrible. It's not horrible. He
I
can
have,
be a stay-at-home dad, but he needs to have his hand working in something.
I
Like
have,
I can't. Ooh.
I have a better question. You're making the money. You're making the money. He's a stay-at-home dad, and he wants say so of what we're gonna do with the money.
He wants to lead still. He
that's
still wants
not
to be the leader.
actually. That's a good example. Hey,
What's your thought? What's your thoughts on that? Like you went out, you made all the money, and he's like, "Hey, I think we should do this with it."
That's
Does he
fine.
have as much say so with it as he would if he earned it?
that's big. That's big.
That's fine because this is house too.
But
These
what
are
if you
his
disagree? What
kids
if you
too.
disagree completely with like you 100% prayed about it?
Now stop it.
You don't feel like God's leading you in that way, but he's like, no, we need to do this with the money, and he didn't earn it. He didn't work for it. He wasn't out there sweating for it. You were. Would he still get the end say so, or in your opinion? And I want to know people in the comments too, because
I can answer the question for you.
no. Let her answer. Let her answer for herself. Because, but I want the people in the comments are going to be funny. But I want to know your opinion on that one.
We're gonna have to come to an agreement. Cause see, oh God, because with marriage, it's not just about you. It's not
Right.
about you. It's not about you anymore. As soon as you take them vows, that is it. It is over. Once you have them kids, it's not about you anymore. So you have to really consider this other person in their opinion and how they feel. But I just feel like we gonna have to come to some type of mutual ground or some type of agreement and really pray and fast and go to a therapist.
That's
And
crazy that so many women are saying like
It's
no.
not crazy. It's
Everyone's
not
saying a
crazy
lot
to
of
me.
people are saying no
Yeah, it
It's not
is.
crazy to me.
How is that not?
That's not crazy.
because I think it goes back to the vision you have for your family.
But
Well,
that's what I'm
here's
saying.
the
But if you
thing.
you
Here's
can
the thing.
man,
Here's the
oh
thing,
man,
Chris. Here's the thing.
that's crazy.
And so you said, what if there is no agreement? Will there be an agreement of like, okay, I made this vow to follow your leadership, and I'll do it? And is he? Let's say it's not a selfish reason. Like, obviously, if it's something where he is obviously just being selfish and taking advantage of you, that is completely wrong. And we don't condone any of that. We tried last week, I believe, or the week before, kind of talked about guys that do that, and that's not good. But let's just say sometimes there's no agreement. There's not an agreement, but you brought in the money, and you just do not agree with it. Will you still trust them and say, okay, you know what? Even though I don't agree with you, and you didn't earn it, you got it? Or will it be more, hey, look, I did all the work for this. If I don't agree with it, I'm not going to put my hard-earned money into that.
I
That
understand it's quote unquote my hard earned money, but
but
bruh.
it's not though,
Wait,
right?
let her finish her thought. Let her
Okay.
finish her thought.
All right.
But it's for my family. Like, how else we gonna eat? How else we gonna pay these bills? How else we gonna do what we want to do? Like, I'm sorry, that's just me. A lot of women probably won't agree with me, but excuse my language, but shit, we gotta eat. Like, it's not just it's not just mine, it's yours too. And if these kids here, I don't care. I'm gonna make sure that my family eats because, as the Proverbs 31 woman, she was a boss. She had her own thing going on before she had him.
Whoa! Before she had him.
She probably did. Like,
Okay. I'm
because
just
she get
messing with. I'm
He's
married.
just
just
messing with
playing.
you. I'm
She,
just messing with you.
okay.
I'm just messing with you.
Okay. But, you know, if I have my own thing before I have my husband and then I bring that with him and he brings his, or he's like, well, babe, I want to be a stay-at-home dad, then it's like, okay, well, I'm doing this for my family. It's just not about you anymore. It's the divine
Right.
order. Now, as a single woman, for me, it's God is first, then me, and then all the other things and responsibilities that I have. But once I get married, it is about God, my husband, my children, and my career and my family. That is it. So I might not agree with what he have to say, but I'm gonna have to be like, listen, I got to do what I got to do to make sure we're good, because we're not gonna be living on the street. We're not finna be in here starving in this beautiful house and we don't have no food or we don't have no power. So it's not about you anymore. It's my money. It's my money. If you go into a marriage thinking that it's your money or it's your this or it's your that, why are you even married?
Oh man.
That's a good
I
point.
I agree. I agree 1,000%. And that's why I'm gonna disagree with you, C Love, because man, like when both sides go like, oh, this is my money, this is what I'm bringing to the table, this is my separate account here. I think that literally defeats the whole purpose of two people are becoming one, right? That's financially as well too. That's not just, oh, we're having sex and we're married in God's eyes. No, that's financially too. So one, that's why you have to be careful of who you marry, right? One, you got to make sure that, hey, he has a vision, he has a plan for it, right? Regardless if you make you make more money or he makes more money. What is the vision? What are we trying to accomplish, right? So I don't care if my wife makes more or she can make triple what I make, right? At the end of the day, unless she can bring a plan to me that says, okay, this is what we're trying to accomplish, this is what we're going to do, X, Y, and Z, yada, 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 better, cool, let's roll with it. But in
Because
my head right now, I have a plan. This is what I'm trying to do.
a stay-at-home dad or a stay-at-home husband, okay, hypothetically speaking, I make all the money, but he's good at managing said money.
Mm, exactly.
He's good at, well, this is due on this date. Well, we don't have a budget for this. Or, well, let's try this. Or let's put this in this account. Or let's save up to invest this money for this. Or for a new business. And if we come up with a new business, okay, like I want to do Airbnb one day. And so if my husband is like good with managing the money better than I am, and he's like, well, I think we could save enough to invest in Airbnb or an investment property or whatever. I'm gonna be like, okay, we're gonna save this. You gonna handle all of that, and this is gonna be your baby. This is gonna be your project. But let me tell you, he ain't finna be sitting at home doing nothing.
Right. But let's be real. We just got to be real about it. Most women will not respect the man that's at home, taking care of the kids, cooking dinner. She wakes up in the morning at 5 a.m. to go get ready for work. He's still laying in the bed, kind of rolling over like, I
Oh
have
no,
lunch made for you,
no,
babe,
he's
when you
not
get
sitting in the
back.
bed. He's not
No,
sitting in the
women
bed
don't want
doing
that.
nothing. He ain't sitting in the bed doing nothing.
They
You wanna
don't
know
want
why?
that.
But
Because if I'm getting ready
men
for
don't want
work,
that
he's
either.
downstairs cooking breakfast for
You
me.
said men
No,
don't?
To be a
no.
I
stay.
said, I don't want that.
No, I'll be honest. When I was working at Smith and Nephew, I was in medical device. I had to be up at like 4, and knowing that Joelle, we weren't married at the time, so we weren't living together yet. But knowing like, hey, I'm driving, the sun's not even up yet, and I know she's like safe in bed, and I'm gonna bring some money home.
You feel like a man.
I was actually okay with that.
You
I
feel like
wasn't
a
like
man.
she needs to be up too. Like I was happy about that.
Right.
It kind of gave me a little more inspiration. But
Right.
I
But
guess
if it's
Instagram's
opposite,
not
no.
it's not kicking us off after an hour, so maybe we're good to just keep rolling on through. But you gave some really good. What's your name?
Talisha,
Talisha. Nice to meet you.
nice to meet you. But yeah, he gotta have his hand in something. He can't just be sitting around all day now. He gotta
Yeah.
he can't be on 2K all day.
Oh,
Like,
I agree.
yeah. That's laziness. Laziness.
Yeah, exactly. That's laziness.
Laziness on either side is not a good thing.
yeah.
Not a good thing. Thanks for hopping on. That was really, really great. We appreciate it.
Yeah, come back on anytime.
Thank you.
And anybody else who wants to hop on, Hafiz, if you're still in here,
Yeah.
jump back on.
See, love, I'm still gonna disagree with you at 7:30,
A
bro.
woman will not respect you.
Bro, that
She will not
7:30.
respect you for that.
That 7:30 is not smart at all, dude. It's just not.
But I'm not saying like if she's wasting her money, if she's paying the 30% and then wasting the rest, that's a
No,
problem.
she want a Birkin bag, so she gonna go spend her money
That's
on
what
the
I'm saying.
Birkin
If she's
bag.
wasting the rest, and that's a problem. But if she's using
It's her money,
saving
right?
her money wisely for the family, that's good.
But it's her money.
So
She can do what she want with it.
Okay. We
Well, that's where
got
the plan comes in.
we got two people requesting to join.
Here you go.
We got two people requesting to join. I don't know why it's not letting me.
Which caused a little bias with that comment.
Who?
Zach sounds like a great husband.
I am.
Yeah, she's not gonna respect that man.
Okay.
That's still in bed and she's waking up at 5
We
a.m.
got Christina. Christina's coming back, and we got Queen LaGrande. That is waiting in the in here. And she was the one that said someone in here was begging for a wife.
How you guys doing? Hey, C-Love.
Oh man, yeah. All right.
Okay.
Do you see Christina on here?
Can you guys see Zach? He's buffering for me.
Yeah, it takes some time.
Yeah, but both of y'all on.
Okay, I don't see her yet.
I have so many thoughts about this, and it's such a gray area. You know, how can you? Okay, so this is my first thought about the whole stay-at-home parent. Let's just say husband or wife. Okay, now I see Zach. So thinking about simply the age of the children. If you have children like under 5, right? Mm-hmm. And you're going to put them in daycare, you're looking at like $800 a week per child. So it makes more sense to have someone stay home taking care of your kids, right? To have one of the parents staying home. So for me personally, the only time, I don't even know. But the only time that I would be, I use the word okay very lightly, okay with my husband being at home is if we had 2 or more children under the age of 5 and he was getting up with them throughout the night, right? And doing all those things that I would need to be doing because I'm, you know what I'm saying? Like that would just naturally, the motherly instinct is to do that. And he's doing that because then it's taking a financial burden off. Because if you have 2 or more children in daycare and you're paying, you know, $4,000 a month or more in daycare costs, it makes more sense to have him stay home. Mm. So that's where my mind goes does it make more sense financially in that way? And if you think about the structure of a home and why households are so backwards is because there really isn't anyone managing the home like there used to be, right? Mm. Like women used to actually manage their home. And now, so like what Chris was talking about is we have a lot of stay-at-home moms, right? But they're just staying home. They're watching Maury or Dr. Phil, right? And they're just
they drop the baby off at the grandma's house and then go to the mall.
Right. Yeah, you know, or don't even go to the mall because they're not even showering. Let's just be real. You know, there are that does happen.
Her audio went out.
Yeah. You can't hear you.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
There we go. We got you now.
Okay. Good. All
right.
But if you know that because of what society is and with social media and people get so sucked into what's going on virtually, that can happen very easily. Okay, and you said that that's a small minority, but we don't know that. We don't have stats on that. We don't know what, you know, stay-at-home moms look like. There are some stay-at-home moms that I am sure are organized, that are doing all the accounting, that are cooking and cleaning, dinner is ready on the table, kids are eating a balanced meal. I'm sure that happens. And they're probably doing some side hustles, right? Operating a blog, writing a book, whatever the case is. I'm sure that is going on as well. But we can't really say what's a minority and what's not with that because we don't have statistics. If somebody has statistics, then we can run with that. But as far as a man staying home, I mean, I'm gonna be honest.
It's a no for me.
It's like I can't like I want to look at my man like, yeah, like, baby, you gonna go change the oil today? You know what I mean? Like, and if he doesn't know how, go YouTube it and figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I want to see him do things, I want to see him go to work and like be constructive, because I want that for him, because that's what God called him to. What did God give Adam before he gave him Eve?
Jobs.
Right? And then Eve is the helpmate, a helper suitable there is, and to be fruitful, multiply, and to be his helpmate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it is kind of out of order to have the man taking that place. You know what I mean?
So a question, just like Zach said. So like, what if you're making all the making all the money, and then he's managing all the money? He's saying, "Oh, well, let's do this with the money. Let's do this. Let's do this."
Well, if
Because
he's doing investments and things like that, then he's also making money technically. You know what I
not
mean?
necessary. I mean, what if you're like that's what I'm saying. What if you're making all the money, but he's the one?
If he's doing investments and things like that, he's making our money make money.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I see what you're saying.
So
Yeah.
he'd still be doing that. If that's why he's home, because of some goals that he has in that way, absolutely. But I also don't think that I'm confused why, if we're one flesh, why we don't have one bank account during marriage. It sounds like a lot of people are wanting to have like separate bank accounts.
Yeah,
And
70,
it's like,
30.
hold on,
That was another question that we were going to get into, that someone sent us this week, was what's the thoughts on different bank accounts? Should there be one bank account, or should they have their own separate bank account? And I will ask you, before you answer your opinion on that, I will ask, what is your thoughts on, like, do you think that you would have more, would it be harder for you to respect and submit to him if you come home, long day of work every day, and then, you know, he's with the kids and he's got a little apron on, he says, "Oh, honey, you're back," and then he comes, gives you a kiss, and he's like, "Look, I did this, I did that," and he's like, "You know, Johnny took a few steps today. Are you happy for him? Say hello, she's back." What would you do? Would you
It'd
have
be
a hard
cute for
time?
the first week, but I couldn't do it. It'd be cute for the first week. I'd be like, "Oh, look that's so precious. I love seeing this side of him." But that's gonna wear off real quick.
Let's say they're 12 years old. It's the whole thing. Now they're 12 years old. He's packing their like soccer lunches and stuff, and he's got the fanny pack on. He's taking them in the minivan to soccer practice. Would you have a problem like submitting to him? He's like, you guys were in some sort of disagreement. He's like, "Look, the Lord called you to submit to me." Would you have a problem with that?
He's gonna bring out that card.
It's stereotypically called a soccer mom for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that that's a man's place biblically. I mean, it seems very out of order. You know, to be I mean, it'd be hard to submit to God if he was letting us dictate him. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would we then submit to him if we're usurping authority, right? In that way, we're taking the place that doesn't belong to us. I feel like that's what we would be doing as women. And I don't know. I know it's 2022, but like, the Bible has been the Bible for 2,000 years, and it doesn't matter if it's 2022 or 3022, right? Like, as much as the world progresses, it doesn't mean that we are supposed to change and conform to whatever the world is doing now. I still think I would have a hard time submitting to a man that's playing a woman's role.
So, okay, I have another question.
In that type of situation, you have to ask yourself, like, did she get down on one knee and propose to him?
Right, and like that.
Like, how did this happen?
Doing that?
Yeah, escalating it, but okay.
Does he sit down to pee too? Like, I mean,
okay, all right, Sheila.
Okay, so
I'm just saying.
Let me
ask you this. I mean, possibly realistic scenario. Let's hope that this doesn't happen to anyone here. But let's just say something bad happened and he got in a major wreck or something, and he can't even do the normal wheelchair. He's got the little button, and then he's like typing to you, "Don't forget, it's God's will for me to still be the leader of the house." What would
Why'd
you?
you have to use that voice?
Huh?
I said, why'd you have to use that voice? No, I hear you. I mean, that's different.
Would you
It
feel?
was
Would you still feel like? Would it be hard for you to do that? Like you're going to work, you're doing this and that, like you guys are in the mall together or something, and you're making sure, hey guys, don't run into my husband. You know, like you're protecting him in the areas that you feel like he should be doing for you, even though it's not his fault. Would you feel like it would still be it would be harder for you because of that?
No, in many ways, because I would have known who he was prior to that. And it's not a choice he's making. He's
Right.
not deciding to be in that position, you know? And I'm sure that whatever man I marry, if that does happen to him, that's going to be so difficult for him. And the last thing I would want to do is disrespect him and make him feel lower than he is. You know, when you think about being one flesh, you're doing that to yourself too. You know what I mean? Better or worse, sicker or poor, or richer or poorer, sickness and health. If that were to happen, I personally feel it would make me want to honor him even more. And I know that it would be devastating for him to live his life like that.
Yeah.
And so in many ways, if a man was forced to be a stay-at-home dad that really wanted to live the life that God had for him, that might be devastating. You know what I mean? And so I made a comment earlier in the beginning of the live that I feel it's important for a man to be able to have his own, right? His work, regardless of the amount of income that it's bringing in. Right. So I personally, if I make more money than a man, so be it. Okay. Yeah. That's, I don't care.
So what if how you breaking it down then?
I'm not. It's one income. It's one bank account.
So it's one
flesh is all our money, so it doesn't really matter. I just want him to have what God called him to do, and I want him to be able to be living out the purpose that he has, and I don't want that to be downplayed in any way, shape, or form. Again, if it was a temporary situation, if he was going back to school, we had multiple children that were under the age of 5. I'm in my career, and for a couple of years, he's going to stay home so he can work on finishing his degree or whatever the case, and we can be saving those daycare costs. That's entirely different too, because that's circumstantial.
You just don't want laziness.
Right. But I also don't want a man that wants me to play his role. I wouldn't want that.
Patrice Tudor said, my husband broke his neck when I was married, and it was hard to follow his lead because I had to lead everything because he was injured. If you don't mind me asking, what did you still do it, or did you kind of feel like I don't really need to anymore? And is he okay now? I hope he's okay.
But those sort of
think about what y'all saying.
Those life like changing like situations, you hurt yourself. The man hurts himself, or he loses his job or something like that. A man will have so much more respect and love for his woman, who kind of like quote unquote holds him down in those situations when they come out of that, than he did before.
But here's the thing, C-Love. Like we're saying these circumstances that happen, right? But then you already set in place of the 70-30, right, in terms of income-wise. But if you're doing that and then something like that does happen, then y'all are stuck, right? Y'all were stuck because now you was making 70% of the income, and then y'all were doing stuff, and then her 30% was going into it, and then now there's that 70 is gone. Really, that whole 100 is gone, right? So now y'all have to live off of either her 30 or now her whole 100, and it might not be enough.
Okay, but
so as a man, well, what?
Go ahead.
Wait, hold on. Can I say one thing, just so we're not getting too far off topic? I think the 70-30 was something he just threw out. I don't think he's really put a lot of thought into it. I think I don't.
No, but a lot of people said that was fair, though.
I think what he wanted to say is that as the man, he wanted to be providing more than the woman. I think
but even then, I disagree with that too. Right? Well, I disagree with that to a certain extent, because it's like I said, if if that's the goal, right? If the goal is to further the household, right, and to generational wealth, then y'all need to have a plan, and whatever works for whoever couple is whatever. Y'all need to have a plan that can sustain y'all through those bad times, right? The mark of a good leader is also proper planning before tragedy or anything happens, right? So if I'm me, I'm putting certain things aside and doing certain things. So when life happens, because life will happen, right? Now we're good, right? So we're using both of our incomes. It's not just, oh, there's just one. I don't believe there should be one bank account, right? I believe we should have 4 different bank accounts, and then all we're so I might as well just say this, right? So I believe there's 4 different bank accounts, right? And I believe each person needs to put 25% of their income in each of those different bank accounts, whatever that number is. If you're making higher, if I'm making lower, whatever that number is, 25% is going to each 4 different sections, right? The 4 different sections are household bills, right? That's covering all that. Miscellaneous things. Then you have investments, and then you have what's the 4th one? The 4th one is savings, right? So as we're constantly every year, as we're putting more money into those different sections, if something happens, we're good because we've already planned to take those losses whenever they come when life happens, right? So now we're utilizing both of our incomes, regardless of what the number is, by percentage, because it doesn't really matter who makes more, because the percent is going in, and that's fair. Because the goal is to move the family forward. It's not to be like, oh, well, I'm putting all my money in, and she gets to use wherever her money is, whatever. No, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Right? And it doesn't work.
He's
right.
just saying,
I'm not saying
okay,
with
okay,
that 30%.
hey, hold on. Just so we don't get so caught up, because I don't know if everyone is just trying to listen to financial stuff, but I will say, I think what he meant was he wants to make, when it comes to the money coming into the house, I think what he was saying was he wanted to make 70% while she made, like, he wanted to make at least double what she made. And then whatever they do with it, I don't know if did you have a plan or were you just kind of throwing out a number saying you wanted to make more than her?
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I feel like it should be more on the man. I'm not saying she goes and wastes like the remaining money she has. Yeah. You can do what you said. You can still split up that money of the remaining of what's left. But I'm saying with that, the initial who pays what, the man should be paying more.
I don't think you're going to find any woman that argues with that. So let me just say, and I have to hop off, but thanks for having me again, you guys.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for hopping on.
Yeah.
So we have another request. And guys, anybody who, let me go ahead and type in the topic again. Well, we may get onto a different topic in a minute because I do have some other things to ask, but we do have one more person that wants to hop on. And if you want to hop on, just click the little button at the bottom that says join, and you guys can hop in on the conversation too.
I'm sorry.
Huh?
Oh, I said I'm sorry.
For what?
How you doing?
What's dark? I'm in the dark, so I don't want nobody seeing my hair because my lace front is lifting right now, y'all.
Oh, no, good. What's up?
But I was just saying that, like, I was raised in a Christian household. I was adopted, so the idea of marriage that everybody puts out there is not what y'all talking about is not going to be your actual like type marriage. Is what you and y'all, each other make your partner. And the fact that like people we as like this generation, we go so hard about like what we're going to do when we get married. You really won't know until you get married, to be honest. You can plan, and, you can have a savings and get your financials right. But as far as different aspects, yes, just got some, I know, y'all, but my lace lifting for real though. But you won't know the different aspects until you actually take that step. Because like I'm watching my friends, a friend over here got married. Now they're getting divorced. And a friend over here is thriving. And the crazy thing is the friend that was on the other side that we thought was going to thrive and thought, because we felt like they'd be a good match together. Now their whole marriage is falling apart and everything's going left. And I feel like, marriage is different from each individual because some people, they really think that's what they want until they get it and it's not what they think it'd be. Because dealing with when you're so used to being alone by yourself for a certain time, like I am, because I don't know if marriage is in my future, but I feel like I have to have somebody who's basically extrovert and slash like kind of introvert because I don't like people. I'm not sociable, and I have like a really lot of anxieties.
So
yeah, everything glitter ain't gold. That's the best thing to say. So we got to stop putting all these labels and what we think is going to be in marriage, and just wait.
Right. So I think a verse that's kind of been coming to me a lot lately was when Paul talks about the crown of the reward isn't given to the fastest, the swiftest, or whoever. It's the one that can endure. And so, kind of like your friends that you mentioned, from a biblical perspective. Now he's talking about spiritually, in terms of our spiritual walk with the Lord. But I think that can also apply to anything in life, especially marriage. And so I think kind of what you said, to echo what you said, your friends that everyone thought, oh, they're so easily compatible and all this other kind of stuff. That's not the thing that builds an enduring marriage. Statistics.
Yeah, and the fact that they brought 2 kids in there, knowing they were still having problems, was a selfish act. Because I feel like people who throw kids into marriage to try to fix their marriage instead of go to therapy or go to somebody that can help them or get some type of counseling and try to have babies. The fact that they threw 2 kids in there to the situation does not make it better.
Right. And there's
I feel like this generation shouldn't get married so fast. Like,
well, do you think
because they see the marriage proposals online, they see everybody basically sitting there, with the beautiful rings and stuff, and they see those things but don't see the hard work they have to put in behind the scenes just to get to that point. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think I want to do this because I didn't see too many fails. I didn't see too many successful, but I said I don't think I want to do this right now.
So
because like I got to work on me.
I agree with you in one sense. Now I would say this. I don't think that we're getting married faster. I think we're actually getting married at a slower rate, at an older rate than we used to, statistically speaking.
Right.
Because the average married age is a lot older than it used to be. But I will agree with you from the standpoint of our generation is so hyped up about things that we love the glitz and the glamour. We love the wedding, but we don't like being married. We love dressing up and taking a picture with the stethoscope, but we don't like actually being a doctor. We like letting people know we're a doctor. We like payday. We don't like having to go in and perform nasty surgeries. Same thing in sales. People don't like actually selling and making money. They like, oh, I take a picture in a suit and I play dress up for a day. So our generation, like you said, we get so caught up in the things that do not matter so much that when it actually comes to playing the game, a lot of people are terrible at it. Because they don't have the desire to actually want to be good at that thing. They just want the thing that comes along with it, the wedding pictures and all these other things.
Right. And the one thing that you had said about if a partner gets sick or anything, one of the reasons why I haven't, jumped into the whole dating thing, I know I'm a selfish person. Like, if something will happen to one of my partners and I have to take on the responsibility, I'm gonna be like, well, I guess I got to drop you off at your mama's house. Or your auntie, somebody else, because I'm not about to take care of you. And I'm just being honest, a whole honest person.
Self-aware.
At least you're being honest.
Yeah.
At least you're being honest.
Like, I'm not about to sit here and take care of you. Like, especially if if we were just like 2 and no kids, and I have to take care of you plus the kids. Yeah, we're gonna have to decide which one we want to take care of the kids. They're going to stay with the grandma, and I'll take care of you, or it's gonna be you go stay with your mama. And I take care of our kids because people don't understand kids by itself is a job. And you're taking care of a whole disabled person and kids. And half the time in these marriages, the women take most guys, they be like, yeah, we do the finance and all this other stuff. But like they don't really care about the mental stability of their wife. Like they expect her to go above and beyond, continue the motherly and wifely duties. And she'd be like, I need a break. And most guys be like, a break for what? You don't do nothing. So I'm out here working and doing all this. You don't really do nothing.
Right. So from a biblical perspective, is that right or wrong for the guy to do that?
I feel like it's, from a biblical perspective, I feel like it's kind of wrong in a way.
Not kind of wrong. It's 100% wrong. You're supposed to love your wife like Christ loved the church. And, you know, I think if you don't care about any of her needs, and you don't care that she feels a certain way or that she's hurting or anything like that, you really do not care, then you're not doing your job as a husband.
And I also feel like people let too many people, you know, on the outside of their marriage get involved in the inside of their marriage. Because I feel like that's what went wrong with my friends. And I told her to stop listening to people, and she just thought I was just being my basically unoptimistic self.
Wait, say that one more. Say that. Hold on. I'm going to need to pause you for a second. Say that one more time for all the people in the comments, because that is say what you just said. What was the problem that you thought?
They listen to too many people on the outside of their marriage. And that was the problem with them. Like, I told her to stop listening to people outside the marriage and just do them. Or it's like they're trying to keep up an image for everybody, and then, you know, the house underneath is falling apart, and you're repairing, you know, the walls and the outside, but not repairing the foundation.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So when your house fall in, you know, as a divorce, and everything just seems haywire, and then you add a little bit, you know, let's say paste, like they do the paste of the wall, you know, add a child here and there.
Mm-hmm.
They become casualties to the divorce too. Most people don't realize that. They think about the children afterward and how it affects the children afterward. I feel like if you feel like your relationship is not stable enough, don't bring no kids into this. And people keep saying, why you keep saying kids? Probably. I was like, kids, you know, that's terrible on their mental. Divorces can be very bad for kids. Right. And people don't really think about it. They're just sitting there thinking about the evil stuff or petty stuff they can do within a divorce to each other, not really caring about the kids, how they feel, and watching all this go down.
Right. No, well, thank you for hopping on and sharing your opinions. What's your name again?
Karina.
Nice to meet you. Hey, were you the one that said something? We were on here like looking for a wife or something like that?
Oh no, I was in the comments trolling. I was trolling Chris.
Me, yeah.
Chris?
Yeah, I was like, he be having me weak every week with the wife thingy. I was like, he is desperate. Let God just give him a wife, please. I'm praying for God to give him one, because I am tired of him begging on Instagram for a wife.
I'm definitely not begging, and I'm not jealousy. It is just TikTok.
Are you single?
Having fun.
For me, I am very much single, but I'm not looking. That's the thing. I don't want anything right now.
Oh, okay. Well,
I saw him on Reels, and I was like, he has a nice body. So he's just somebody I lust over every now and then.
You got a nice body, but you're not looking for a man.
You shouldn't follow him. Follow our stuff. We have more family-friendly content.
What are you saying, Zach? What are you saying?
She said she's lusting over you. I don't want her to lust. I'm just saying, if you know, I don't want her to fall into that trap.
I'm just saying that he has a nice body. You know, I look, but I'm not trying to attain right now, because my mental is definitely not there to be trying to date at all.
Well, thank you for hopping on. We got someone else in the request too. We don't want to leave you guys waiting too long, but thank you for hopping on, and we do this every Wednesday. Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
All right.
Tried to get you one.
Boy, don't put. All right, Sheila. I got you next then. All right. I got you next.
Okay. Let's see.
Remember, I went to college with both of y'all, right? Just remember that. I went to college with both of y'all. So you can fool a lot of these people on social media, but I really know y'all.
Okay, here we go. Soul Bree.
Man, where's the girl with the bonnet at? Put her back on here.
All right, Soul Bree, you may have to send your request again. Send it one more time. I'll just send it to you.
Coming up on 2 hours, y'all.
Yep, coming up on 2 hours, 15 minutes. Okay. Well, she's not accepting. So
If he's in?
He's not. But if he hops back on, I'll bring him on too. So there are a couple other questions. There are a couple other questions that people asked. So there was one that I thought was really interesting that I think, Chris, you would be good at answering. And I want to know your comments from a woman's perspective. A lot of people in the comments, what is your thoughts on this? is there a lot of pressure from people that you're dating or in a relationship with or even just talking to get physical with you before you're married?
Say it again.
Is there a lot of pressure from the opposite sex when you're, dating and stuff, that they're trying to get you to get physical before you're ready, before you're married? That's what I mean by ready. I'm not talking about you till you're comfortable.
So basically, you're saying, are like women?
And then for women, are men doing that to you? So that's why I said for anyone opposite sex, do you feel pressure from the opposite sex where they're like, hey, I want to get physical to an extent?
I'm gonna be honest. I think yes. And I think it's both ways, right? I think, look, we're all human, and if we're being honest, all of us want sex, and if you don't, you might have something wrong with you, right? So like, I, both men do it, and obviously we know men do it, but women do it also, right? And I don't think that's a bad thing to want sex because that's in our nature, right? That is how we were created, and it's a blessing. It's a good thing. But man, it can be tough while you're dating, right? Because I mean, obviously you're gonna have, especially when you really start diving in and really start getting in a relationship and start loving that person and stuff, like you're naturally gonna want to do those things, right? So it is a challenge to a certain extent.
Okay.
I think so, at least.
And then we got Justine that is about to hop on. She just requested. We'll go ahead and bring her on real quick. When men tries to get physical after I've set boundaries, I have to end it. That's good, as I think you should.
Oh,
Hello.
no! Pause. What you mean, Zach? You think that's like just because a man? I don't know. Is that counts as ending? Now, it's one thing if he's continuously trying to push and trying to get past that boundary. That's one thing. Don't get me wrong. But he had a weak moment. That doesn't mean he's a bad dude necessarily.
Well, I don't think she's saying he's a bad dude, but it sounds like what she's saying is they had boundaries. And hey, Bethany, Naomi, if you want to hop on too after Justine, feel free to explain yourself because I know you can only type so much. But it sounds like what she's saying is she set some boundaries, and then the guy is trying to push it like, no, it doesn't matter. I know you're waiting until marriage, but I don't care. Let's do it anyway.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's fair, but I mean, I just want to, just for everybody in the comments and stuff, I just want to made it like just because somebody gets weak, right, or has a weak moment, or may want to, maybe push that doesn't make that person necessarily a bad guy. Now, if he continuously does it, or if that woman continuously does it, then yeah, obviously you'd be like, man, I don't think this is gonna work out just because we're not on the same page in that aspect. But man, hey, I'm the whole virgin thing, X, Y, and Z. I am not going to be the first one to tell you I haven't tried to push some boundaries sometimes, right? I'm not perfect, and I'm not, claiming to be, right? I'm a human just like everybody else. So you saying, not saying the person in the comment, but you're saying in general, that doesn't make somebody a bad person or a non-godly person, right, because they had a weak moment or because they're consistently progressing in that area.
No, you're not perfect, and you're not sinless, so you're going to have those thoughts, you're gonna want to do things, but yeah, I mean, I agree. But like she said, if she set her boundaries, she said, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing X, Y, and Z, and then she's with a guy that's continuously, no, come on, just slip your pants down a little. I'm just saying, she's right to leave in that situation,
right?
Yeah,
because he doesn't respect her boundaries.
So Justine, questions, comments, thoughts?
I feel like I jumped in at a question that you had asked or a comment that I did not catch.
Okay.
But pressure, yeah, I definitely would say there is pressure. And I mean, at least in my experience, I feel like I've gotten more pressure from people outside of the church than inside. But
you would hope so.
Yeah. But I will say, I do try to be open or, if I see something that is going to, push my boundaries, I try to stay away from that. So I don't need that type of pressure. And if you can't like honor or like respect my boundaries, then what else are you gonna disrespect about me?
Right.
And if it's like a consistent thing, like obviously like people could like slip up or like have a weak moment, but if it's like a consistent thing, then there's a underlying problem.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah, because I mean, eventually, if you allow it, it's gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
Even if you don't want it to happen, somebody's consistent enough. Eventually, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Exactly.
Especially if you both kind of want to anyway, and you both have a weak moment, it's bound to happen.
Yeah.
All right. So is the question tab up for anybody in the comments? Can you guys see the question
But even
tab?
if it's not, just put it under there. I mean, we got 10 minutes left, so
yeah,
just type it out.
I don't want to miss anything. But yeah. So I think here's another question that I'll ask anybody in the comments, and I'll ask everybody because this is a topic we've talked about before. So pressure to get physical before marriage, everybody kind of says, yeah, there's some pressure. What about the situation where the guy or the girl says to the person who doesn't want to get physical, well, I want to know what I'm getting before I get married. Doesn't mean the whole thing, but I want to at least know, how good are you going to be in bed? Like,
I'm gonna just stay out of this one. I'm not even gonna comment on this one.
I just want to know. I want to know. What do you think? Because when you think about it, is that something that is important? It's important. So, what's your thoughts?
It's very important. But
what do you think, Justine? Since you're the guest here right now.
After marriage.
Huh?
Important after marriage.
Right.
It's at this point in time, it should be irrelevant in my opinion.
Wait, hold on, Zach. Can you say the question one? So you mean like in terms of test driving it, or in terms of just like having knowledge of like what you're getting, like what's in the present?
Okay, I'm gonna need you to tell me what you mean by that.
So for example,
I want to make sure I'm on the same.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. So like, you got a Christmas tree, right? You have a big box, like, you know what I mean? Like, is it a little small thing in the box, or is it like a bike? Like, how
what
some presents. Okay, so how some presents you can like.
Just say the word.
No, I'm saying like we're talking about your wife. We're talking about your wife. How some presents you can kind of see what you're getting, right? Or some like you talking about your husband. Some things you can kind of see like what you're getting versus. And I'm not saying test drive anything. I'm just saying like have knowledge before you like commit your entire life to this person.
Okay, so
is that the question?
Okay, so from a guy's perspective, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and put it plain out there to see if people if they, because it seems like some people are confused. Are you saying like from a woman's perspective, or from a woman's perspective, she wants to know what all's down there, and then from a guy's perspective, I don't really know what you would figure out because you can kind of already see what her body.
You can already see. I mean, from a guy's perspective.
I mean, sometimes, but I mean, you don't never know.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? She could be wearing trench coats 24/7. But you know what I mean?
Okay, let's say you've seen her in a bathing suit.
Okay, no, that's fair. No, that's fair.
But
is that important? Is that important?
I want to know for the women how important it is to know what's down there beforehand.
But y'all laughing, but that's a real thing. Because if you're committing the rest of your life to this person, I think it's a real thing. I don't think it's just something to be like, oh, well, it don't matter. Okay, yeah, all right, sure.
So, Justine, what's your thoughts? Like, where's the line drawn, or do you kind of stand by what you said before? Like, it should be irrelevant until you get married.
Like, I get the like physical attraction, but I think you can see that like you see that in everyday life, like no matter what the situation is, like it's not what would be the word? Like you don't have to have like a special opportunity for that to like be known.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. And for me, I would say I don't really have much pressure on like what it looks like before marriage. That's just me though.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, some of these comments say differently.
I don't need to test drive, but I need to be able to see. So, okay, so coming from a biblical perspective, right? Do you think that's appropriate? Do you think that's right by God's standards? Do you think God's like, yeah, go ahead and give her a quick peek, or like look real quick? Like, do you think that by God's standards that's okay? For the people in the comments, because I think personally, I don't think that's how. I don't see anything in the Bible that says that's okay. But then again, you know, it's a discussion. So I just want to see what people's thoughts are. I think it is okay. Poppy Jr. 37 says, nope, I don't think it's right or biblical. No.
That other comment, I'll be upset if I waited all this time to have sex and they got married and all the sex was just whack, boring, repetitive, wrong. I mean, that's
who said that?
What do you mean? It's in the comments.
Is it up there or is it kind of down?
No, it's Miss Bradley, I think. Yeah. You might have to scroll up a little bit because they rolling in.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess this is another one we should start off with next time.
Yeah, we definitely should start off with this.
Are you supposed to wait till marriage to do everything?
Oh, man.
Gabby, what do you
Good
mean
question.
by everything?
You mean everything?
I would say so. Man, these comments are going fast. So
practice makes perfect.
Practice makes perfect. Okay, so from a worldly perspective, I can understand it. I guess we're coming from a biblical perspective. Is it okay or is it not okay? Should you do it? Would you do it? Etc. So,
okay, I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I also see that if you trust God, you shouldn't be worried. I mean, I get that. I really do.
Wait,
but no, I really do.
Okay.
However, like I'm just gonna keep it a buck, right? The amount of how pissed I would be if I would just be like, hey, I'm not gonna worry about it like at all, and it's the complete opposite, bro. Like you don't understand.
Complete opposite, like you find out it's a guy.
No, Zach, come on now, you're being extreme.
What's
I'm talking about like if it's like not like attractive, and I'm not talking about.
What do you mean?
See, look. Wait. Hold on. You keep saying it. What is it?
Her body from head to toe.
But you
see,
look,
look, stop acting. Like, no, I mean like, I mean her whole body, not just what you look like in a bathing suit.
What all do you
see? Love. But, okay.
So you need to
hold on, Chris.
Stop it.
Chris. Hold on.
Stop it, y'all.
No. I'm not trying to be funny. Someone said, Bethany Naomi said, I don't know what the algorithm's going to do, so hopefully it doesn't mess us up. But it says, like, her vagina isn't attractive. Is that what you're talking about?
I'm talking about everything. I'm talking about the complete body of a person, right? Because you're saying you're getting married to this person, like, physically. And, yeah, we can say physical attraction. Some people say it's not important, but it's very important.
But how
right?
are you going how much staring at that are you going to be doing?
Okay, hold on. Nobody said stare. Like, so I had a conversation with somebody, and she was talking about it's important to kind of have certain discussions, but not get to the point to where you're like, you're opening the door and talking about, oh, what we could do, what we should do, what X, Y, and Z. But to have discussions of like, for example, and we're going to keep it real, right? For example, if somebody
I've been trying to keep it real.
Okay, and if somebody's like, no, I'm not trying to like have nothing to do with anal sex, right? Nothing. And then the other person is like, no, like that's one of my to go to things. That's a discussion that needs to happen before y'all get married. You don't think?
I think that's a good discussion, but it's not.
You don't? How not?
Not like a. Oh, I said I think that's a fine discussion to talk about. I mean, I guess if that's your thing, that's not. Really
but that's something. Exactly, but that's something, and that's just one example. It can go the whole bunch of different things, right? But that's something you might want to know before I'm saying, okay, I want to commit the rest of my life to this person, and that's something they feel like they're going to need, right? Because the vast majority of people are not going to marry virgins, are not going to be virgins themselves, and not going to just start from zero and then kind of learn each other's body. That's not the case all the time. So that's not the case a lot of
Because
times.
we're in a fallen world.
Exactly.
Right.
And being in the fallen world, you have certain experiences, the expectations that you've got from your past. And to say that, oh, I'm expecting this out of my wife that may be a virgin, that may not be a virgin, and we're just never going to talk about this?
No.
I
I
don't
don't
think
think there's
that's
anything
wise.
wrong talking about it. I guess my question is, and Justine, do you want to have anything you want to add to it? Because I don't want to.
Well, say what you were gonna say.
No,
And
go
then
ahead.
Justine, you look scared. You look kind of scared.
I was just like not expecting this conversation, but
Yeah, you hopped on right when we kind of took a turn down the other. So
Yeah, this going to have to, because it's like 2 hours. We're going to have to,
I do know someone else.
this going to have to be a
Someone else wants
conversation.
to hop on too, but
Yeah,
go ahead.
coconut sugar.
What were you about to say?
I wasn't about to say anything.
Oh, but you still stand by what you said at the beginning.
Yeah, and I think there's always a place for like conversations to happen before, but I think once you get to know a person, like the trust is going to be built, and the not necessarily the attraction is going to grow, but that wanting commitment is going to grow. So you want to, um, like, you're going to have grace for other parts of them that might not be, as perfect, and that might be like character wise or looks wise. But maybe you're going to have grace for those parts that maybe don't fit your expectations.
That's really good. I wish there was like I don't know, clapping emoji or something, because that I think when I've thought about grace, I've never thought about it from any other perspective other than like emotional and spiritual. But that makes sense, where it's like, hey, you can't control something or whatever. Like, why, that to a point it becomes very superficial, but to a point where, but there's also a point where you're like, hey, I am attracted to this or that. I hope that we're on the same page with this topic,
Right.
But I do get what you're saying in the grace part, because that makes a lot of sense. That's definitely.
Zach, you trying to start off this next time, or?
I am. I just want to give this person one more opportunity to come on real quick. Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
What happened to Love?
He's right here. He's back.
Oh, that's him?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Okay. Justine, thanks for hopping on. Sorry you hopped on at such a weird time. But feel free to hop on anytime. And you're always welcome to share your thoughts, and you always have good perspective. So we appreciate you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I would make it earlier, but I have a class that is very important, like right at 7:00. So.
Oh, it's all good.
Yeah. Good to talk to you guys.
Yeah, good to see you again too. All right.
Now I'm the superficial guy, right? Because looks matter.
Well, Courtney.
I never said that's the, and obviously we're only in the lives. I never said that was the most important thing, but it does matter. I'm not,
right.
Hey, teach.
Yeah, it's just it, and it's it is to a you're just being honest. And here, at the end of the day, it's just like this. It's like with that.
At the end of the day, that's what I'm marrying. Y'all ain't gotta marry my wife.
Well, but here's the other thing too. It's like what that girl said. If you do realize, okay, this may be superficial to a degree or whatever, and you say you're being honest about it. You're not being fake about it, to where you're saying, "Oh, I wouldn't care," but you really do at the end of the day. So there's transparency there, and there's room for, at the same time, we may say, "Oh, that's superficial" or whatever, but you also got to have. We got to have room for grace in all these other areas. We also got to have room for grace for people growing in those spots too.
Y'all gonna stay on?
I'm about to peace out too.
Yeah, we're gonna have to peace out. We're gonna have to make a part 2, but we'll have another conversation on TikTok. Follow TikTok. Follow us on TikTok. We're gonna put the schedule of when we're going to go live there as well. We will be going live again this week, either tomorrow or Friday. So if you go ahead and follow, we're also going to be putting a new video out, a new little quick skit video out right after we get off this live. So make sure to follow on TikTok, follow here, and thank you guys for the great conversation, discussion. I had a great time.
Till next time.
All right.